Hey guys, Captain Henson here. So today, thought I'd do a quick review of the first three books in the Junior Jedi Knights series. I figure that, with all the stuff I have, I should start talking about it more. And it's also a good way for me to actually get through everything. And to give recommendations for anyone thinking about getting into the EU. So I won't be going into too many spoilers with these quick reviews, just a few of the details I think are noteworthy, and whether or not I think you should read them or not. So, so the reason why I'm looking at these first three books, and this is a 6-book series, is because these three books form what I call the Golden Globe Trilogy. All of them focus on the titular Golden Globe. Now, the book stars Anakin Solo, youngest kid of Han and Leia, and also Tahiri. I just pronounce it Tahiri Vila. A comparison would be Harry Potter. This is about Anakin and Tahiri going on adventures, even when they're not supposed to. Now, this first book, The Golden Globe, starts off with Anakin only being, I want to say 11, getting to the or Luke's Jedi Academy. And from there, he meets Tahiri. And they hit it off. Anakin's not really great with making friends. He's more of a loner than anything else. And Tahiri, who was raised by a tribe of Tusken Raiders on Tatooine, is more than eager to talk her mouth off, because being raised by Tusken Raiders doesn't leave you much room to converse. But despite being raised by Tusken Raiders, she's a cheery and upbeat girl. She's been having dreams of her and Anakin on a raft floating on a river, or raging river. They, of course, want to figure out what this means, especially when Anakin starts to have these same dreams. So they go, and so after going through, forgot to mention, Luke's Jedi Academy is on Yavin 4. Anyways, so Anakin and Tahiri, of course, follow the dream and end up at the titular Golden Globe. And they are told by this seemingly normal animal that they have to free whoever is in the Golden Globe. Has to do with a curse. And this animal is actually a Jedi Knight, or he tells them that he's a Jedi Knight who tried to break the curse and then was cursed himself. So he sat there waiting for somebody or people to come who he knew could break the curse. And so the first book ends with them knowing that they have to break this curse. Now, Lyric's world, of course, I find this one pretty interesting because Lyric, and there's a snake. But anyway, so continuing from where the last one left off, I think this one takes place like a week after. Anakin and Tahiri, who are in the middle of a class, meet up with this other student. And she's a humanoid, and she's a part of the Melody species. Essentially, they're the mermaids of the Star Wars universe. They hatch from eggs, and they look exactly like a normal human. And then when they come of age, they go through the changing ceremony, where they have to go into the water, and their bodies change. They lose their legs and get a tail, or their legs fuse together and form the tail. Either way, really interesting. And most of this story is kind of a one-off, but in terms of the bigger picture, we find out that the Golden Globe has Melody children trapped in it. By who? Something I forgot to mention about the first book is we find out that Exar Kun was the one who trapped these children in the Golden Globe, but we don't know why. He's a Sith Lord, so I don't remember the exact history of Exar Kun. Might have to do with one of the Great Schisms, but as far as I'm aware, he was indeed a Jedi. And due to something, him and a bunch of other Jedi broke off and became Sith, and it all had to do with love, which then leads into why the Jedi feel the way they feel by the time we get to the prequels, and this takes place like thousands of years before that. I butchered that, but the point is, Exar Kun is a major driving force behind what's happening. And I'm fairly certain the year prior, in the first book of the Jedi Academy trilogy, was his first appearance or mention. Either way, he himself doesn't appear in this trilogy, but one of his followers does. And so, Lyric's world itself, I think, is a pretty good read. In terms of connecting to this greater trilogy, we do get that. We do find out that the ones trapped inside the Golden Globe are the Melody children. Why he did that, I don't think is ever explained. But, yeah, they have to face some dangerous creatures like this giant snake, which has a name, but I'm spacing on it. A giant spider, some giant bird-like creatures. And we do get to know the Melody people, such as when we have the children going through the changing ceremony, the obviously younger children who still haven't gone through the changing ceremony have to protect them. So, really interesting stuff, and Tahiri learns how to swim because, of course, being from a desert planet like Tatooine, she wouldn't know how to swim, so it's also a nice character moment. So at this point, and I should also mention that the Jedi who's in the form of an animal, I think his name is Ikrit, he tells Anakin and Tahiri that they can't tell anybody about this, that only they can break the curse. So at this point, they know what's at stake. So the third book promises is character development or more character development for Tahiri. She has to go back to Tatooine in order to fulfill this promise that her adoptive father, the leader of her tribe, made. Because the thing with Tahiri is that years ago, when she was only like 3 or so, yeah, I think she's 9 in this, and 6 years ago, so 3. Her parents took in the leader of the tribe because he was injured after a skirmish with smugglers. So they nursed him back to health. He was touched by their kindness, so he would help out around the house. And he helped train Tahiri's father so he could, defend the moisture farm. But his tribe finally found him. And of course, seeing that he was sparring with Tahiri's father, they took it the wrong way, thought he was attacking him, so they killed Tahiri's parents. And they wanted to leave Tahiri, just leave her to die, but Sylvan, the tribe's leader, didn't want to do that. So he made a promise that he would. So they made a deal. He would take her in, not tell her anything about her parents, and when she came of age, which is 9 years old in Tusken tribes, she would have to go through pretty much a rite of passage, where she would be dumped somewhere. I think it's in the Dune Sea or the Junlin Waste. Point is, she's dumped somewhere and then has to find her way back to the tribe within 7 days. And of course, utilizing her skills that she picked up. Now, when Luke found Tahiri, he was told by Sylvan that she would have to come back when she was 9 years old. But Sylvan never specified why. So that's why Luke would even allow something like this. And so Anakin, being her best friend, decides to go with her during this rite of passage. So it goes as well as one might expect. It sucks. Anakin getting all sunburned. Being in the desert or any hot place is not fun. They run into Jawas and are able to hitch a ride on a sand crawler for a bit. But of course, as the cover no doubt shows, they run into a crate dragon, or a crate dragon stalks them and finally catches up to them. Now, the crate dragon here is far more dragon-like than the Ralph McQuarrie concept art that I've been looking at since I was a kid, but still, really nice design. And so, once they deal with the crate dragon, they're still long ways off from her tribe, so Tahiri calls upon her Bantha to come get them. He does. They make it back to the tribe just in time. And Sylvan finally tells her... Oh, wait, no. He told her backstory before. That was the promise. And I should also mention that the deal Sylvan and Luke had was he would bring Tahiri back when she was 9 so she could decide whether or not she'd stay a part of the tribe or continue as a Jedi. So she comes back, and through everything, she decides to continue her training as a Jedi. And Sylvan understands. Heartfelt scene. And she's pretty bruised up, and Anakin has infections all over the place, oozing pus. So they make it back to Luke's Jedi Academy. And of course, Luke, now knowing what the hell was going on, is, well, worried uncle. But Tahiri and Anakin get better, and through everything they've been through, they now know that they have the strength to go to the Golden Globe and free the Melody children. They do, and as they walk outside, they see Luke and Ikrit. And here we find out that Luke knew the entire time, or knew about the Golden Globe the entire time. And it solidifies Anakin and Tahiri as Jedi, or on their road to becoming Jedi. So, overall, what do I think of this trilogy? Well, I think overall it's actually really good. Short reads too. Each one will only take like an hour, or even less, to read. Anakin and Tahiri are really good characters. You want to follow them, and of course their friendship is just, honestly, it's just adorable. And Anakin, obviously being named after his grandfather, is worried throughout the trilogy that he'll become like him. And Tahiri, honestly, I found more interesting, but I like them both. I actively want to see more of them. It's a shame I already know Anakin's fate, but if I like him now, that's going to make, when I get to that point, that's going to hit hard, I know that much. And Tahiri herself, I mean, obviously, barefoot female Star Wars character. So when I first learned about her, that instantly caught my attention. But despite that, they do something with that. Because she grew up on Tatooine for most of her life up until that point, she doesn't like to wear shoes when she doesn't have to. She likes to feel the cold stone beneath her feet. So, yeah, we do have an interesting little character thing going right there. And in the first book, Nancy Richardson wants to make it very, very clear that she's barefoot. I'm not complaining, but there you go. And we do get some nice world building here. Learning more about this Exar Kun character, getting to see this new alien species and seeing some of their civilization. And also seeing some of the Tusken Raider civilization and culture. And one last thing. I just want to say, I love these covers. Like, there was actual effort put into them. Quite frankly, I think that each one is able to catch your attention, and especially kids' attention. I mean, you got Anakin and Tahiri facing a giant snake. You got the Golden Globe behind them, And this cute little critter right there instantly sets up a mystery. And then, of course, facing a freaking crate dragon with Tusken Raiders in the background. And of course, I just prefer illustrated covers. Because, well, later on, well, sometimes they could get lazy. Some of them aren't bad, but not great either. So it's nice to see that these young reader books from the mid to late 90s actually put in the effort. I wish the Scholastic books did the same. Instead of either using a fucking picture from the movie, which doesn't relate to that story at all, or the horribly photoshopped stuff. Well, I guess I shouldn't say horribly photoshopped in some cases, but still, I mean, if Goosebumps could have some really nice covers, then why couldn't Star Wars? And of course, Del Rey would do the same with many of their books. So, do I recommend the first 3 books in the Junior Jedi Knights series? Yes. Overall, I think they're really good stories. I think kids will really get into the characters, and because the stories are so short, you'll be able to get through them in no time. And I do think this is a good introduction to Star Wars for young kids. It gives them something new, gives them new characters, relatively speaking, and it sets up a mystery that, as the trilogy progresses, you'll learn more and more about, and you get to see new creatures, some relatively speaking. Now, I got all 6 books on eBay for like $30, but I have seen these go to like $40 to $50. So not too bad. And I do recommend them. So guys, did any of you read the Junior Jedi Knights series? Did you like Anakin and Tahiri's friendship? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Captain Henson, signing off.